Good morning, Cross Creek, friends and family. Thanks so much again for tuning in to our daily devotions. Guess what? It's Monday and it's a whole new month. It is now the month of August. And it is August 3rd already. It's 2 days gone, flown by. It was a good weekend. And I want to say this. All year I haven't had corn on the cob. And we've got a big field of corn on the cob. Yesterday I went out and picked a couple ears. It was good. It was good. This week's going to be a corn picking week, and I'm looking forward to it. Excited about that. August the 3rd, the importance of empathy is going to be our devotional this morning, and this comes from 1 Peter 3:8. All of you should be of one mind. Sympathize with each other. Love each other as brothers and sisters. Be tender-hearted and keep a humble attitude. It's going to be a good one, I think. I look forward to jumping right in. I do want to pray as we get started here, and then we'll leap into our devotional. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for your truth. We thank you that you are a loving, empathizing, sympathizing God, Lord, that you loved us so much that you gave everything on the cross for us, Lord. You gave us your precious, perfect Son. Lord, help us not to ever allow that to become something small in our lives. If we love and we trust you, Lord, help us to be focused on that on occasion, Lord. Bring it into our hearts and help us to understand the sacrifice you made for us so that we can live a life that is full and true for you. We thank you. We praise you in your precious name. Amen. All right, let's get started. Before we get started, I'd like to encourage everybody, if you have a cup of coffee, this is my Cross Creek mug, by the way, which goes with my Cross Creek shirt. See that? Oh, that's good. It's got a caramel creamer in it. All right, let's get started here. Again, 1 Peter 3:8, all of you should be of one mind, sympathize with each other, love each other as brothers and sisters, be tender-hearted, and keep a humble attitude. So, illustration right off the top. I had a friend send me podcast. Thank you. That was the other, it's a small portion of the brain that functions on this time in the morning. A podcast. And it was a pastor in California, and he was talking to this individual, like a radio host, but a podcast host. And they were talking about how he's pushed through California under some strict regulations, but they said that they're meeting anyway. They had like 13,000, I think, come out to their services, which is great, And they did the social distancing, which I think is great. But the approach in which they talked was arrogant, and it belittled any other church that made any other choice. This is a difficult time for us to be in. As brothers and sisters in Christ, arrogance and pride is never okay. That's the thing that Christ fought against with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, because that's the hypocrisy that they had. We can't be that type of person. So before we quickly judge someone and attack them, and say that somehow they're weaker because they made a different choice, and we don't really know their circumstance because we don't live in their shoes. Let's stop for a moment and consider maybe they're doing the best they can with what they have, and trust God with that. It's so important. If we don't exemplify that, if we're not exemplifying sympathy, humility, empathy, who's going to do it? Christ put those gifts within us. The fruit of the Spirit should be within us. Please look up that verse. Look up the fruit of the Spirit. I'm not even going to talk about it. I look it up and then read it and say, do I have, are these a part of who I am? Because it's the evidence of Christianity in your life. And I'm not trying to ride anybody. I want us to understand that we have to love one another. And we have to love the world. Why? Because Christ called us to. We're his example. He gave his life for it all. I hope we're willing to. All right, we're going to jump in now. In order to live in harmony with your spouse, your friends, or anybody else, you must have empathy. Not only do you need to be aware of what's happening in their lives, you need to develop a genuine concern for them. Empathy is important because it meets two of our deepest needs: the need to be understood and the need to have our feelings validated. How do you become an empathetic person? Start, this is good, by slowing down so you can notice what's happening around you. Our culture teaches us to move fast, so we end up skimming relationally, and we do. Hey, how you doing today? And we walk by. It's not, hey, how are we doing? Go ahead. I'm waiting to hear. And they don't even expect to be able to say it. Oh, good. That's the common good, because you don't want to really know what's going on in my life. That's an opportunity for us as believers to stop and say, oh, well, there's hope for a bad situation in your life. But we skim just like everybody else. You are skimming when you are hitting most of the high points and missing all kinds of details in the lives of people you care about most. One of the things I had learned from working at the mission, there were times where I had to sit and counsel with some people that had gone through things that were so horrific. You couldn't imagine that humans could do things to other humans like that. And that somebody would have to walk that road. I had one person, his name was Joe, and he passed away last year. And I spent a lot of time with Joe. Now I don't want to even get into his story because it's just such an ugly, ugly story for this man. But here he was living homeless, walking the streets, and I'm sure people thought, oh, there's crazy Joe. But if you would have heard his testimony and known what he had gone through and what he had to live with in his life from past abuses and things that he had to witness, heartbreaking. And one of the things they taught us at different seminars that I went to is that empathy has a cost. Because when we empathize with someone, when we stop and we take a moment to truly listen to them, God has given us an incredible mind with a great imagination. And what we tend to do when we empathize is we begin to only partially. I mean, I'm not for a moment saying we walk this road like this person did, but we begin to imagine what that road could be like. When they're talking, we're building pictures within our mind while that person's talking to us, and because it's how our brain works. And we're seeing in our imagination what took place in their testimony or their life. That has an effect. Like it has an effect on them, the PTSD that they struggle with. When you are inundated with that type of counseling on a regular basis, it can have an effect on you. And you begin to carry that pain because you empathize. You feel it. Your mind walks you through that over and over again to hear it. And there's a part of that God wants us to have. Not to carry it for it to hurt us, but to carry it to the point where we feel some pain so that we understand the pain that person went through so that we can empathize. That's what empathizing is all about. It's feeling the pain that someone else has felt. Sympathize is like, well, I understand that sounds like a really bad thing that happened. I can sympathize with that. But when you empathize, you internalize, you feel it, you take the time to think through how painful this could possibly be to live through this moment in this person's life. That was tough. But if I learned anything from it, it's that God wants me to stop and to listen and to love other people and first try to understand who they are beyond what they look like and even how they act. Joe he could be verbally abusive. He'd come in and yell and swear at me up and down. But God put it in my heart to love the guy. And when I heard his testimony, I couldn't do anything but love him. He was hurt. He was broken beyond earthly repair. God took him home. That was the healing for Joe. He's home and he's healed. And I praise God for that. But There are people that walk around us, and maybe they don't go through the severity of the pain that Joe went through, but they're going through things, and we're judging them based upon how they're acting at a moment or how they look. And God wants more from us than that. We have got to learn to empathize. Moving on. It's going to be longer than normal. Start by slowing down. When was the last time you allowed someone to share their heart with you? You can't sympathize if you aren't listening. Once you've slowed down long enough to really listen, start asking thoughtful and specific questions. Most people hold their emotions pretty close, and they don't automatically share how they're doing. Use gentleness to draw them out, and that's something that we struggle with at times. I'm fine is the standard answer. Hey, how you doing? I'm fine. How you doing? Don't get into it. I don't have time for it. How is your conversation with Sue? Is even better, being specific, if you know what to ask for. The only way you are going to have the energy to be authentically empathetic is by staying close to God. If your emotional tanks get too low, you'll be ruled by your own agenda. Selfishness pushes empathy into the background. And too much empathy without the recharge and sometimes taking a break can burn you out. And counselors have to deal with that all the time. Guys, they sit and they work with damaged people all the time, are dealing with this type of thing. They're having to empathize and help. And at times even block the empathy part because it can hurt. But we need to feel the heart of others. Ask God to help you slow down and ask good questions. Maybe just don't ask, hey, how you doing? Maybe don't ask that if you're just going to walk by. Maybe we need to get to a place where that's not a question we ask. Maybe just, hey, it's good to see you today. That can be good, but we've gotten in this pattern of, hey, how you doing? See ya. Oh, well, I'm having let me get back to you on that. I didn't really expect to hear a story. And we want to move on. God wants more than that for us because he listens to us and he's called us to listen to others. Ask God to help you slow down, ask good questions, and give you the strength to better love the people in your life, because there's nothing else that God has called you to that's more important than love. All of the other gifts, he says, are great, but without love, they're meaningless. I hope today we can authentically love the people around us. It's not easy. And at times it can be painful. Probably we're not going to have to go to the cross for it, though. So take some time today. Love the people around you. And thanks for tuning in. If this helps you at all, please share it with your friends. It's all about getting the love and truth of Christ to as many people as we can. Thanks.